I welcome you all again. We seems like more students are joining, so we're just gonna wait maybe like 1 more minute for everyone to join the Zoom session. All right, it seems like we have a pretty stable number. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you all from around the world. Welcome to USC. Congratulations again to your mission and welcome to the School of Engineering. My name is Lily.
Recording
I'm
in
one
progress.
of the academic advisor. We also have two colleagues here with me. I'm going to ask them to briefly just introduce themselves, starting with Andrea.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Mora, and I am one of the staff within the Student and Academic Services team.
Hi, everyone. My name is Priscilla Cisneros Vasquez. I'm also one of the staff members and academic advisors here in Viterbi.
Thank you, and welcome again. And this is for Viterbi Graduate International Student Info Session. So in this session, we can learn more about what we need to do for our international students. So next slide, please. So as mentioned, the learning objective today is really to decide to help you all at the end of the session to confidently navigate your first semester. We are going to introduce some important processes, requirements, and any campus resources available to you all as international students. Next slide. So this is the agenda for today. We're going to go over a lot of information, mainly about how to support you before your time coming into USC, enrollment status, any degree verification, late entry, admission deferral. At the end, we're also going to share a lot of resources, and then we're going to have a Q&A session at the end, so that we ask you all to just hold on to your question at the end during the Q&A session. So without further ado, we can go ahead and jump right into our first part. Is we're going to introduce you all to different USC partners. So you will all work with different departments throughout your time at USC. So we are here, the student academic assistant, academic service advisor, SAS, right here. We are the one who provide academic verification for any OIS managed international student processes, like reduced course load or curricular practical training. So we are mainly the one who just provide verification. And then we have OIS. OIS is a very important office, is the Office of International Students. So any questions that you have about immigration status, any immigration related question, you'll be contacting OIS. And then we also have our academic department. So based on your major, you all have your own specific academic departments. This is the one that if you have any questions about your curriculums, any course registration or change of major, this is where your department advisor will be a great contact. And then we also have your faculty member who are in your classroom, right? They're the one who support you in any course requirements or questions about your grade. Next slide. So as we mentioned, we are the one who's available as additional resources. The OIS, Office of International Services, is responsible for ensuring that universities compliance with immigration regulation governing international students and scholars. So if you have any question or uncertain about your immigration status, we encourage you to contact OIS directly for guidance. If you do reach out to us, we'll most likely refer you back to OIS, as well as I mentioned in the previous slide, we're mainly the one who are providing academic verification. So the next important thing is learning about immigration status verification. So upon arriving to the United States, all new and continuing international F1, J1 students and J1 scholar are required to complete this immigration status verification ISV with the OIS office. So ISV is a mandatory online check-in procedure for international student and scholar to verify your entry to the U.S. as well as your immigration status to ensure that you all is eligible to start a academic program or appointments at USC for their upcoming start dates. So most of all international students will have a STU 55 and 50 hold. This hold restricts enrollments. So our office cannot lift this hold or make any exception. This verification is a OIS requirement, so OIS will be the one who is lifting this hold. They will lift the hold within 3 business days from Monday to Friday. So once this hold is lifted, students can proceed with course enrollment. So your next step should be really looking at reviewing any information that were provided by OIS that regarding this verification. After arriving in the US, you will complete this ISV with OIS. And if you have any question about the ISV questions, you can go ahead and contact OIS drop-in advising. And after all of this, your hold will be lifted. Next slide. So once you have completed the ISV, like I mentioned, your hold will be removed and then you can now enroll in coursework. So if you're a master student, if you have not or were not able to attend the academic webinar, make sure you review the PowerPoint and the recording so that you are aware of the academic requirements, fall registration, resources like schedule of classes, or USC catalog. So the link there also have all the recording session and the PowerPoints for you all to review. You also want to take some time to review any email that is coming from your academic advisor regarding registration. And if you are a PhD student, please just make sure that you are reviewing your the academic advisor's email regarding registration. And for you all, just a quick reminder, once you have the hold is removed and register for classes, make sure you are registered by August 21st to avoid any late fee. We also include this link in here for you all to kind of navigate through the registration system. This PowerPoint slide we'll share with you all later so that you will also have the link for you all to access later.
All right, so when it comes to holds, aside from the ISV hold, you also might notice another hold that's called the ADM 40 or RNR 40, which is associated with the domestic and international degree verification. So some of you or most of you might have it. Please know that it is connected to making sure that you send over your bachelor's level degree transcripts. They do have to be official transcripts. Some students may have already sent them with their admissions application, but please note that these are 2 separate, or at least can be 2 separate processes. So if you do notice on your STARS report or on your WebReg that you do have this hold, I would suggest getting into contact with Degree Progress, which is the registrar's office that oversees this hold. If you feel like you did send over official transcripts, you can definitely contact them to review it. The one thing that students commonly do when it comes to the admissions process is send over an official copy, but they did upload it. So please note that anything that that students have access to and you upload it on your end, it no longer makes them official transcripts. For more information, you can find it on that website that we linked right there. It doesn't get in the way of your registration for your first semester, so that's something you don't have to worry about up until a few weeks after you want to settle it a little bit after the first semester. But you do have to handle it within your first semester. Anything after that, it can change to a different type of hold, which is the ADM 41 or R&R 41, and that will restrict you from enrollment when it comes to future semesters. And then processing does take a good amount of time. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks. So once you do send it, you want to make sure that you're doing it with ample time so you can avoid late fees in future semesters or any canceled registrations. In extenuating circumstances, our office can lift the hold that gets in the way of restricting enrollment, but students do have to initiate that request. So in future semesters, this doesn't apply to your first semester. In future semesters, you can email us to request to lift that hold if it is getting in your way, but it is something that is not something that you should be pushing along. It's something that you should take care of within your first few semesters. And up next, we are going to be talking about course enrollment requirements. So international students do have to have a full-time course study. So for master's students, full-time is considered 8 units. And for PhD student, full-time is considered 6 units. So anything that is required, so if you have to take any prerequisites for your for your program, or for anything that's associated with your department, or any deficiency courses or co-requisites or things like that, or also any ALI classes, which are required language courses, then they do count towards the 8 units. If you are taking ALI classes that are optional, those do not count towards the full-time status. So that's something to keep in mind, and we also did link the OIS website to gain more information if you did want to read a little bit more on that. All right, and then there are a few exceptions for students to enroll in full-time. So for students whose first semester is in spring or fall, you do not have to register in summer session. Summer session is only required for students who are in their first term at USC. So your first term here is during the summer session, or their academic department requires it. So if there's a certain class that's only offered during summer sessions, then you should take that class then, or if summer is your final term. There are, and we will touch base on it a little bit more a few slides from now, but reduced course loads, those are also exceptions that students can take less of a full-time load. And also PhD or master's students who are registered in any thesis or dissertation courses. So typically those classes are 594 course numbers during the fall or spring semester. So those are considered full-time status. And again, if you guys have any questions on reduced course load or exceptions for full-time enrollment, then you can visit OIS's website for more information. And like I mentioned, reduced course load is one of the exceptions that international students can take a lighter load depending, but you do need justification. So there are 2 types of RCLs that can apply to students in their first semester, which is academic difficulty. That is, we put certain criteria under there, but you can definitely check out OIS's website for reduced course load. So academic difficulty is considered if you are approved for your first semester. You can only take it once during that degree level. You do need a minimum of 4 units each, or 4 units for that semester, so that is the lowest that you can go. And students cannot take academic difficulty within any other semester, or if you have any off-campus internship, then that's not a good justification to use academic difficulty. Another type of RCL is considered the medical RCL. So that one you can drop as low as, in some cases, not even enrolled in any classes, but it does have to be approved, and you do need documentation and medical supporting documents in order for that to get approved. So again, our office mainly reviews these when it comes to the academic side of things. So we do make sure that you still are enrolled in the units that you are claiming. But at the end of the day, OIS is also a part of this process, and they're the ones that also have to approve it at the end of the process. And just a little bit more information. So you can contact us when it comes to if you have any questions about how this impacts your academic program. So For master students, you can contact vacems@usc.edu. And for PhD students, you can contact vacephd@usc.edu. And for anything related, for eligibility or requirements or anything visa related, then you can visit OIS's drop-in hours. They do have drop-in sessions throughout the weekdays, Monday through Friday, for certain hours. Check out their website in order to see the accurate hours for that day. And for submitting RCOs, you can submit them through Trojan International. They are linked on the OIS website. I almost forget to mention that the deadline for submitting RCOs is during the second week of classes. And you are muted, Indra.
I always seem to do that, but thank you so much, Priscilla. So we're going to pivot a little bit. I know in the previous slides, we were discussing about things that you should know to prepare for your first semester, as well as to continue forward in your first semester here at USC. Now we're going to talk about what happens if I'm not able to get to the US and start my first semester at USC this fall. Well, there are two options. Option number one is maybe you are able to come into the country just a little bit later. I know that the admissions team has sent some information regarding late entry letters and what are your late entry instructions. We have also linked these in this PowerPoint. So after we upload this recording and the PowerPoint in our website, you will be able to access those late entry instructions. However, we are aware that admissions has sent these via email to you all. However, if you do have any questions regarding late entry letters, please contact vwelcome@usc.edu. These letters can be used to enter the US at a later date that is stated on the late entry letter, but it does not guarantee entry into the US. And we recommend that you should enter the US by the program start date that is listed on your I-20. The next option is you are also able to defer your admissions term to start your studies here, whether it's in the fall or in the summer or in the spring semester. For MS students, you will need to submit your inquiry via the deferral request form, and the admissions office will review your request and provide guidance on what the next steps will be. If you have any questions regarding what does a program deferral mean and how to move forward with that, you can contact the Viterbi Graduate Admissions Office at vwelcome@usc.edu. And finally, for PhD students, if you should not be submitting that deferral request form. Instead, you should be contacting vacephd@usc.edu. We will then provide you with guidance on what the necessary steps are in order to request a program deferral and if that is possible. The next slide is specifically to PhD students. It's regarding payroll and funding setup. So all international students on university payroll need to complete I-9 as well as their Glacier documents. This is required for graders, for working as a student worker, or for PhD students on an RA, TA, or fellowship position. Specifically for PhD students, please make sure you attend part 2 of your PhD orientation, which is going to focus on PhD funding. This will happen on July 31st. And for additional information, please visit our new student information website for PhD students directly. It will be linked on this PowerPoint that will also be emailed to you and available on our website. And finally, I'm just gonna go over a few takeaways before we pivot to questions from you all. So international student verification, just a reminder, we cannot lift STU 50 holds or make exceptions for early enrollment to avoid if you have that STU 50 hold. It is an OIS requirement, and OIS will lift the hold within 3 business days of you completing ISV. Course enrollment. For master students, remember to review the webinar and any advisor email that was sent regarding registration. For PhD students, review any advisor communication to guide you on what you need to be enrolled in your first semester. For full-time enrollment, master students, USC recognizes 8 units as full-time enrollment, and for PhD students, that is 6 units. If you're enrolling in less than the number of units required, please meet with OIS to discuss eligibility and submit an RCL if you are eligible. And finally, degree verification. Remember that ADM 40 or RNR 40 does not restrict enrollment. However, it must be completed by the end of your first term at USC. And now, before we move into a Q&A, I just want to make sure that I note that we do have drop-in advisement specifically for international students on Mondays from 3 to 4 p.m. and the link is below, and for PhD students on Fridays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I will now be opening the Q&A for you to submit any questions that you might have regarding anything that we covered today, or if there is any other